welcome back to more Empyrion, Galactic Survival. Now, we are once again in creative mode, and I wanted to just give a quick shout out to some of the folks who were commenting on Monday's episode. They pointed out the fact that I did actually swap out the constructor for the advanced constructor. So I've gone ahead and made that change to the blueprint. So I now have two versions of it. There's a tier 1 version, which is the current version that we're in. So what I did is I swapped out the advanced constructor back for the regular large constructor. And I swapped out the tier 2 generator for the tier 1 generator. And then one of the folks also gave a recommendation that we do a refrigerator in here since we had the cooking station. So since we have food processor, I've gone ahead and put in a tier 2 fridge. Man, got some crazy neighbors out there today. So anyway, so yeah, I just wanted to show you what we had done with that. Haven't really changed any of the other designs yet. One of the things that I wanted to do today is show you basically what I was planning on for a absolute minimalist base. Now, some folks were asking me specifically about PvP builds or multiplayer builds. So I don't normally do much on the PvP side of Empyrion. I do play PvP on other servers and other game types. I've done some of the multiplayer for Space Engineers, obviously Rust, Counter-Strike, but just a bunch of different things, random games throughout the years. And so they were asking me what I would do for bases, like if I wanted to do a PvP build of a base. And I said the first thing that I would do is actually not use any like the cannon turrets, the big cannon turrets, because the whole point with when you're playing in a game where the world persists while you are offline, you have to worry about what is going on when you're not there. Now, Empyrion has a very interesting device. I'll show you really quick. It's called offline protection. This little device, I don't know if I can place one. Can I place one of these here? So this little device is a 1x1 block. And when you place it down, if everybody in your faction is offline, you get a protective sphere or a protective area around your base. The longer you're offline, the more protection you get. So when you are off, the first tier of protection, I believe, is it locks the doors. The second tier does not allow non-factioned players within the area. And then the third tier of protection protects the blocks. Or maybe I have that backwards. It's tier 1 is doors locked, tier 2 is block protection, tier 3 is not able to be inside that area. That makes more sense, huh? So what I was going to do is, for the people who were asking, I wanted to show you basically what I would do if I was playing on a PvP server, especially on something like Aqua or Omicron, because of the fact that these two planets have such broken terrain. You have a lot of really good places that you could look to hide your base, and that's where you're going to get the most benefit. Especially, let's go. Oh, I keep calling it mining, and I went drill. Especially early on, and we want biofuel. Alright, so we're just going to grab a bunch of this. Now, biofuel is something that you can make straight out the gate. You start with, depending on your server settings, 3 to 6, I think, tanks of this stuff. I try not to use it for very long, simply because of the fact that, well, it's annoying. It's really easy to make, and if you're anywhere near a water supply, especially anything with any depth to it, you just harvest as much of the seaweed as you can, and you get, a ridiculous amount of biofuel very quickly. Now, one of the things that I would do is I would try and look for a spot when I was coming down in the escape pod first starting out, near a mountain. If it happened to be near water, even better, because like I said, you're going to be using a lot of biofuel early on. And one of the things that I would be trying to find are areas like this where you have a lot of shadow in there. This is actually a really good spot because we've got the water nearby. We know that there's, you know, we've got a little bit of resource somewhere in the immediate area. Maybe over here might be a pretty good one as well. Obviously, if there are already people on the planet, you're going to want to avoid the areas that they're in. But these types of pockets where they're off on their own, not really bothering anybody, tend to be pretty good places. So what we're going to do is we're going to drill in a little bit. So, you know, get us a little bit of a crater, because what we're looking for is something that is mostly going to blend in to the surrounding environment. Now, if you are in one of the, like on Aqua, you'll get these mountain ranges where they'll have very dense forests at the foot of the cliff. Those are also good because the natural terrain is basically blocking what you're going to see when you're approaching it. So when you come in here, like if you're flying around with a ship, as long as there's no beacon or any type of identifying signal here, people aren't going to know that you're there. Because you can see, even as big as I made that hole, it kind of blends in. So if you're in a ship you're flying past, unless you're looking for it, you're probably not going to find it. And even if you are looking for it, if you don't come in at the right angles for it, you're still not going to see it. Alright, so now that we are down here, so what we're going to do, like I said, we're basically just cutting into the hill. I'll pick this up just because I always like to pick up my debris here. And as you can see, we're basically just digging out a pilot hole. So now that we have that, now what I myself would do is, if I thought I could leave a small base out on the surface, I would actually set up a small base first to make the resources that I needed. Specifically, what I would be trying to do is build the explosives. Right. Because once you have these, let's get rid of that. Because once you have a few of these, I mean, it's not that difficult to get these things. But once you had a few, you could then say, place that. Get out of there, obviously. And this allows you to have a nice even approach on it. So you have this nice, like, kind of hidden entrance here. And I would use probably, I don't know, somewhere close to 10 of these things, just digging this hole out. Because we want this to be well inside the mountain. And the reason for this is because this way you've got complete control over the route of access, because you've already seen how annoying it is for you to start digging in here. You know, the odds of somebody finding you by accident because they just started, you know, bombing the mountain ranges or something, it would make it much more difficult for people to find your base. And we're going to do a few more of these. While we're waiting, we're going to do we want to have a base starter with us. And I'm just going to use the regular steel blocks because they are fairly cheap but still somewhat durable. And just keep rinse and repeat. And like I said, if you've got a server where people are mostly friendly, or if it's one of those servers that allow you to have, you know, like say they have a grace period, or they only allow PvP at certain points, build a starter base on the surface, get your supplies up, and basically make sure you keep just the stuff on you that you need. Like I would keep all of the explosives on me. That way when you log out, you know, those items are basically safe, but the rest of your stuff, you know, anything that you're not willing to lose, don't leave on the server, basically. Right. So we got 2 more of these. Alright. And like I said, this is really just to get you started. Okay, so now that we have all of that done, I'm going to go ahead. We're going to grab a few more of these. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say, because I don't want to trip over this stuff on the way out, we're going to go there. Not quite where I wanted it, but that's okay. Let's see here. Okay, and then we've got one more to finish this off. And then this will give us the basics, this basic area for the beginning of our base, right? Awesome. And you know, I do need one more. Because I was silly and I forgot to place it there. Okay. So, like I said, this really is just to show you how to get started here. So now that you have the basics of your room, one of the things that you're going to want to do, because you can't sink the starter blocks into the tile or into the ground, you're going to need to dig this out a little bit. You can also use an explosive charge here on the ground. Does effectively the same thing. Let me go. Alright, so we want this to be... We're trying to get this to square up as much as possible. There you go. And then that gives you the area that you control. And then, like I said, obviously I would dig this back further before I started doing all of this. This really is just to get you started here with an idea of what we would be doing. Now, I do try to have at least a 5x5 area, because that's usually about what you will need in order to protect your base the best. All right. Now, because that's only one wall there, or one depth there, what we're going to do here is do this, and we're going to take it up 2, and then I want that to go this way. And we're going to go here, so we've got one. There we go. So that gives you the beginnings of your base. Now, you know, obviously you're going to put doors in. You might even put a another block here and here, because if you've got this sunk far enough back, you could put a couple of the sentry turrets on the way in. You could have them basically sitting here all over the place. So if anyone gets too close, they basically get taken out by those very quickly. But you do end up with this. All right, so let's go ahead and grab. Oh, that's right. You can't. Oh, yeah, you can use armor doors now. So I'll put that one there, and this one we are going to hit right there. Let's go ahead and open these up so we can get in and out of this place. Once you have all of this in place, let's go ahead and bring in a small generator. We want you. We need a couple of fuel tanks. And again, these are all things that you would be planning it for ahead of time. You know, we'll use the regular tank. This will get us started here. And then I'm gonna put a light in. So now we have light. All right. Let's go med. We want the med station. And you're also going to want, what is that? We have med, we've got that. You could put a cloning chamber in if you wanted. If you're on if you think you're going to be on planets other than Aqua or that type of planet, put an oxygen system in. We're actually going to put the oxygen right there. We want O2 tank. There. Okay. Now this gives you an absolutely rudimentary base, right? Yes, it's completely undefended right now because we haven't excavated all of this out, but it gives you something that what you can do is, like I said, is you're just using however much explosive you want, and you know that all you need is once you have say 5 explosives deep in a straight line, you're just doing 2 explosives on either side, and that gives you enough room to place this thing down. In fact, let's go ahead and do an Alt-O. We're going to save as underground. Right? Okay. So now I'll show you what we actually have built. So once you have what you want to use and the entire layout of what you want to use built, you basically just go back into survival mode and start building up your resources to make whatever it is you're trying to make. So for this particular blueprint, you need to be level 10, and it'll take about 10.5 minutes with almost no real resource requirement. You're going to need Sathium. The Sathium, again, if you're doing this, may or may not have ready access to it. So that is something to keep in mind. You can get away with using smaller constructors or downgrading what you're building into smaller sizes. Basically whatever you really need to do to get away from the things that you're making, the resource requirements for the things that you're making. Small generator. So what did we place that needs, is it the medic station? No. Oh, you know what? It's the armored doors. I bet you it's the armored doors. Yep, hardened steel plates. That's why. So if I don't use the armored doors, then you don't have a Sathium requirement. So that is something to keep in mind. Let's go one. So let's get rid of these. And we will replace them with regular doors. Let's go. Alright. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and overwrite that base. Now if we go back into our blueprints and we look at the underground base, no Sathium. You still need to be level 10 to unlock it because of the generators and the stations. But you know, this is something that you could build pretty much out of the ship. Actually, let me see. Depending on what your starting resources are, you might actually be able to build this with what you start with in the game. And it just takes you, again, it only takes about 10 minutes for it to be built. Once it's done, I'll show you here really quick. Let's go. We need iron. So we're going to grab, you know, that. Silicon. Let's throw some of this stuff over here in our inventory. Copper, cobalt are the last things that we need. Alright, so once you have your resources, let's go here. Oh, well, actually, let me go into the factory. That's funny. So once you have everything you need, let's adjust this here. So, hey, look at that. There we go. That's better. So once you have all your resources, by the time you have all of your resources gathered, you should actually have the hole dug for this thing. Let's see if we can... All right, come on. And you'll be able to place it pretty much anywhere. So that is the short version of it. Like I said, this is a ridiculously, you know, compact build. It's meant for you to be able to place it pretty much anywhere you need it. If you really wanted to put it on the surface, you could, but I do recommend you do something like with that, the digging the hole trick. Let's see here. Let's bring up one of our ships really quickly. I'm going to use one of theirs. I never used their stuff. Hey, that ship looks vaguely familiar. You know what? I'm gonna spawn. I've never used one of these. I'm curious. Oh, so yeah. Like I said, that would be my strategy for it. And if I was to be doing something on a PvP setting, that would probably be something that I would look at building out. If you are interested in seeing more of that, or if you would like to see, you know, a way to do that in an actual game setting, let me know, and I will actually do that in survival mode. Like I said, it's really easy because your blueprints carry over no matter what you do. So do it in creative mode. Get your plan for what you want. Once you figure that out, blueprint it, take it over to survival. But again, it's a way that you can have a defensive structure with absolutely minimal everything. Because if you're looking to put turrets in there, you have to plan around the ammo box, so don't forget to put that type of stuff in. If you are going to put turrets in, I do recommend you use the interior turrets. simply because of the fact that if you're putting this thing in the side of a mountain, having the big turrets is fine and good, but you're going to need space for that thing to be able to fire down the hallway, or you're going to be close to the surface, at which point you're giving yourself away by having those cannons on it. So it's one of those, it is a trade-off. You need to figure out what works for you and what you're trying to achieve. The other thing is that if you are on a planet that has a lot of flat terrain, or that was the way the seed came in, unfortunately, look for bodies of water, because water does not flow in this game. So what you can do, we're going to hit that, reload it. If you are on a planet with water, and see, all of the PvP guys are probably just like, don't give these secrets away. What you do is you find a cluster of stuff like this, and you go dig straight down under it, because eventually you get under the water. Since water doesn't flow down, you now have a completely hidden base. So hopefully this has given you ideas. If it did, or you enjoyed the episode anyway, I hope you will hit that like button. If you are new to the channel, I do ask you to subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, always feel free to let me know. Throw them down in the section below any of the videos, or reach out to me on any of the social network stuff. Twitter is the one I am most likely to respond to, but we do have the Facebook as well. And yeah, so like I said, I hope you enjoyed it. Happy Wednesday to everybody. And I'm out of here. So we will see you back here next time for more Empyrion. As always, folks, take care and be safe out there, everybody. Okay, now I have wanted to use one of these. Oh, nice. Passenger area. Is this the cockpit? That is the cockpit. So what the heck is back here? Dude, they've got this thing set up as a cargo, as a troop transport. That is awesome. All right. Hey, let me in there. Oh, look at this. Wonder how well it flies. Wow, this thing flies pretty good. This is gonna be fun. Nice.